right, so I'm here with Amie MacKenzie. She is a TV and film actress, and she just recently appeared in a film that just came out this past weekend called Mountainhead with Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, Cory Michael Smith, and Ramy Youseff. And we're here to talk about her career. So welcome, Amie.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So my first question is, how'd you get bit by the acting bug? Where did it all start for you?
All the way back. I don't remember not having it. Like from the time I was tiny, I was just always acting things out, always an imitator to the great amusement of my family. I probably got a little bit too much attention for being a goofball, but yeah, I've just always loved that. Did, as many plays as I could do as a kid. I grew up in Wyoming, but weirdly, we had a really great high school drama program that was just extraordinary. And I was super lucky to be a part of that. So yeah, it started really early.
That's awesome. And so when you went to college, did you start acting there? And did you go to like acting class? Like where did it all start? Like
You
that
would,
where
you would think you would think that would be the trajectory, but I come from a family that like nobody ever would have thought that this was a career path, right? So it was always like, oh, that's so fun, that's so funny. Now go get a degree. So I went to college and got a degree in math, because that's what was kind of expected or something, or that, I don't know. I just got, it was easy to get out. And then as soon as college was over, I was like, but wait, I kind of want to be an actor. So I auditioned for some MFA programs and got into one in New York, got into a really good one in New York. And then I really didn't like it. It was super destructive and kind of mean spirited. And so I ran away from there, and then I started working another job, but I always did professional theater. Like I always had that going on kind of in the background. And finally, after my kids were grown and gone, after all of life kind of happened, middle life, I'm like, wait, this is really what I want to do. So about 7 years ago, I started auditioning uh, for film and TV outside of Colorado, which is where I live now. I'm kind of based in Colorado, even though I end up on either coast a lot. And so finally, I'm getting getting something going. So I feel like I'm just getting started. It's really fun.
and that's okay. And look at Alan Rickman. He did his first movie, Die Hard, at 40 something years old, and
Yeah.
we got to enjoy him. And speaking of the college thing, I totally resonate with you because when I went to college, I originally was a CIS major, like because that was expected,
Yep.
but I absolutely hated it. But I was so blessed because my third year of college, my school opened the film studies program, and I'm like, that's where I'm going. I'm changing my major. I knew right away. I was like,
Amazing. Amazing.
so
Well, and if you're doing film studies and you have sort of an interest um, in anything else or experience in anything else, film is so, to have an understanding of any facet of life or anything, a broad spectrum of life understanding is really great in film too. So I'm really grateful I have other experiences, but have always kept the whole acting piece going, always. I
yeah.
I had made a living in Colorado as an actor for about 10 years doing theater, and we don't have film and TV here. I did a lot of commercials and kind of industrial film stuff, and a couple big movies came through, but yeah, I always kept it going. I always kept it alive. And then it really, I didn't get to really have my life to myself until I was in my 50s. So my first TV show that I booked was Better Call Saul, and I was 53.
Hey,
Oh, I know. It's great.
better late than never. That's what I say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're living the dream now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, like I wanted to, like for me, I've always wrote about films. I've been writing about films since I was 20, and I'm 46 now.
Yeah.
And the last 10 years, I've been doing this particular platform. I started this almost 10 years ago,
Wow.
next month, by myself. No staff, no outside entities. I've done this like solo, and I gotta say, this is the best time of my life because
Yeah.
I feel like I got to meet like you, like for instance, you. I got to meet you. I'm meeting you now, and
Yeah.
meeting all of my favorite actors. I grew up I grew up watching, and
Yeah.
now getting to converse with them, I feel
Yeah.
like for me that's priceless. And I have a day job. I work at an academic library during the day,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so and they're really supportive of me doing this. And
Yeah.
there'll
Yeah.
be times when I'm doing interviews and like during my downtime, and my boss would actually come out. He goes, "Oh, so who'd you interview today?" So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally get it. He's like he did, so I love the support that I get all around from my family and then my work staff as well. They really love that I do this. So
Well,
I
10
totally
years,
think,
that's amazing. I don't think people really like don't brush over that. Like 10 years, I don't think people realize how long ago that was in the scope of like doing this kind of interview format. Like you're an early adopter for sure. Like that was really
yeah.
to be doing this and to keep it going. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time.
Oh, I know.
Here,
I mean,
Mark Maron, who's kind of the father of podcasting, he's shutting down his podcast this fall after because he's just burned out. I think he's been doing it for
yeah,
13 years or something like that. No, more than that, since 2009. So 16 years. But yeah, to do
yeah.
it all yourself and have started 10 years ago, that's something. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And like you mentioned new things. I did my first ever live stream this year, like for the first time ever. So it's just I was like, I've never done live streaming. I don't know if I'm going to do this right.
Yeah.
And it was for a cast and crew reunion of a horror film that came out 15 years ago. They were celebrating their 50th anniversary.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
like, all right, I'll host it and I'll
Yeah.
live stream it. So I taught myself how to do live streams, and thankfully
Yeah.
it came out so good. I was so relieved. I'm like, thank you.
Well, see, I love that. I just the things you said, like, I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to see if I can figure it out. Like, there's so many people who I talk to people, now that I've had sort of kind of a run of it, and they're like, how did you do that? And I'll just, I've given some advice to people that I think is good advice, or, here was my story, and they're like, oh, well, I couldn't do that. I could never figure out how to. It's like, well, there's your answer then. Like I didn't know how to do this either. I didn't know how to self-tape. I didn't know if I was going to be after all the stuff I'd done in Colorado, I didn't know if I was going to be a laughing stock being seen in LA and New York. Like, does it even translate? Oh, I had no idea until you try. You got to just get out there and do it. And lo and
Yeah,
behold.
exactly.
Yeah.
So so you mentioned one of your first big jobs was Better Call Saul. What was that like? I would love to hear your
Yeah.
experience on that.
It was so, I mean, what a crazy one to have be your first real episodic. Like I said, I'd done some big movies, small roles in big movies. And then I'd had some big roles in small movies. So it's not like I was completely inexperienced at being on camera. I had done that quite a lot. And then I think being on stage, my background is theater, and that nothing trains you for being prepared to make it all the way through a scene, learning a chunk of lines, being performance ready, listening, like all that stuff. So I felt prepared. And yet, it's like, oh my God, like there's Mark Margolis who plays Hector Salamanca, and they're the cousins, and it's just like, and just by then Breaking Bad, I was in the fourth season of Better Call Saul, I think, or the second season, I can't remember. And so by then Breaking Bad was already this huge thing. So I didn't sleep much the night before, just thinking, oh my God, I've got the script for that framed to how they watermark it with your name. I've got that
Yeah,
framed in my
that's
house because
awesome.
it's just dumb, but it's just that little scene, and it's like that was the first one. So it was great. And as soon as that day was over, I was like, okay, I can play in this arena. I belong. Like I belong. Like I definitely felt like I it felt just right. It wasn't scary. Nobody, I didn't feel like anybody called me out as being not for real. Like that's your fear. Like you feel everybody I think feels that. You hear amazing stars, people with huge backgrounds saying, oh, I feel like an imposter. There's always someone you're going to meet that makes you feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm at that level. So that was a great hoop to get through.
So what other series have you been in that people might have seen you in that you'd love to share experiences with?
Quite a few. I don't know if you're a Dexter fan. I just got to shoot last year. I'm in the pilot of the Dexter prequel, the Dexter Original Sin.
Original Sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in the very first episode of that. I play Christian Slater's character's doctor because he has a heart attack. So the very first episode was kind of almost like a remake of one of the episodes in the original series that kind of talks about his past. And that was super, super fun. That was a crazy one. I was also in 1923. Have you watched any Taylor Sheridan stuff?
My mom loves those shows. She's
Yeah,
definitely in Yellowstone, all those. So I know she's got us that scene at one point.
yeah. Well, and Taylor Sheridan, he is an incredible storyteller. He's an incredible storyteller. And just like if you get a chance, take uh, an hour and just kind of do a deep dive on his history of what he's done. Like Hell or High Water is a film that he wrote that was Academy Award nominated that was so good. And then he has the whole Yellowstone, that whole conglomerate, but he just did Landman. He's done Lioness. He's done Tulsa King, like all these, like kind of, it's not just one genre. He's just a really epic, epic storyteller. So I got to work on that. And then coming out next year, probably, I worked on another Taylor Sheridan show called The Madison. You might have seen some of that in the news. It stars Michelle Pfeiffer. And so I can't talk too much about my role in it, but they put me up on IMDb, so there, I can say that I'm in it. But the show's going to be cool. It's about a New York woman who ends up having to travel to Montana. So there's still kind of a Western flair, but it's kind of how those cultures meet and clash and meld, and which is kind of topical for our country right now because there's a lot of division between city and country dwellers, it seems. And then what else? Oh, there's a bunch. MacGruber. I was in MacGruber. Oh my gosh, that was so fun with Will Forte and Kristen.
Okay, I definitely have to look for that one because
they're serious. I have a really small role in it, but man, that was a fun day. It was such a fun day. They were ridiculous and hilarious, and so I got to watch Kristen Wiig stand at a microphone and improvise a bunch of stuff while Will Forte was in the back going, say this, and they're just cracking each other up. And there were 200 extras in the scene, and we were all just like, oh my god. It was really fun. Yeah, I've had a good run of it. A lot of little stuff. Station 19. I don't know if you ever saw that. That was a great.
Yeah, I actually interviewed Carlos Miranda a few years back.
Okay. Yeah.
For a movie that he was in. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned you mentioned Dexter. You played Christian Slater's doctor. What was it like? Because I'm a huge Christian Slater fan. I've been following since the '80s. That was my era growing up.
Yeah.
Legend of Billie Jean, Gleam in the Cube, Heathers. What was he like?
He was amazing. He's just amazing. I mean, he's exactly what you would think. He's super fun. He's super, I always worry, you don't know what these people's personalities are like. And when you come in as kind of a day player or a week player, I think I had 3 days on that or something. You've really got to come in and in a very short amount of time, figure out who's who, how people work, how you want to interact with them, how much, just sort of the feel of the set. That was an interesting one. I've told this story before, but I played a doctor who's my age, in her 50s, and it's 1990 roughly. So if she's in her 50s, she probably went through med school 30 years prior to that. So that's 1960s. So what is a woman like who went through med school in the 60s? She's either really tough as nails, like a badass, like don't mess with me, like really, like, can kind of meet the good old boys club with that energy. Or she's very deferential, like, I don't want to step on any toes, I'm so sorry, like, she's one of those two. So I did 2 takes of the scene, which is where she's kind of telling him you've had a heart attack and you got to take it seriously and you've got to stop effing smoking, and she's kind of serious. So I played one really badass, and the other one I played her kind of apologetic the whole time, like, hey, sorry, I just don't really want. And so when I showed up, I didn't know which one that and so I kind of had to listen a little bit. You don't rehearse it. You don't rehearse it at all. Really, the first time you do the scene, you might read the scene lightly, kind of read it while they're setting up camera just so we can hear it. And then you go away, they set up the camera, and you come in and they roll it, they kind of. So I had to take a guess. But going back to what he was like, you're always worried with these big names, like what if I think I was prepared for people to be more difficult than they are. Like, oh, they're a star, they're going to be demanding. You hear all these stories. To a person, just everybody I've worked with that's kind of at that level is just charming, and he was having fun but serious about the work, and then just kept it light and really positive with everyone. And it was just a lovely day. It was just lovely. It was great.
That's what I tend to do. When I interview like actors who work with these big names, I'll ask them like, "Yo, what was it like what was it really like working with them?" And like I'd say, good. No, all 100%. I'm glad to say, like they said, no, they are really nice to work with. Yeah. They're really into the roles, and they get into the roles, but when they're not shooting, they're like the nicest people in the world. So I was like, I'm so blessed to hear that. I'm like, thank God. Like,
Yeah.
I have not heard one bad story. I've heard about bad weather or bad, like something happened with locations all the time. I've never heard one thing about bad actors at all. I've heard
Yeah,
about,
I
like,
think what happens because it's such a pressure cooker job, it's such a high pressure job that in order to get things done, um, people have to be pretty well behaved. Like collaborative art, nobody's good if one person is bad. Do you know what I mean? Like and so maybe there's someone who's kind of difficult, but they've hammered out all of their needs. Like, no, I want this day off. No, I want this kind of trip. They've done all that already, so that they're going to be happy coming onto the set. The director hopefully has the people that he's chosen that he wants. And then everybody's just really trying to, it's a little bit like guerrilla art. You're just going in there and you get one shot. We got like literally, we have an hour, get it done. And so the clock is ticking, the pressure is on, and everybody has to be good or no one is good. And so that's really the sentiment that prevails on almost every set I've been on.
that's awesome.
Because if there's one person, sometimes I was on a set once and it was the director that was making it hard. And it was like, wow, you are digging your own grave. And it wasn't really hard. It wasn't like really difficult, but it was just like not communicating well and then adding things at the last minute. And you could tell everybody's kind of scrambling, and that's a little bit difficult. But it's easy to tell who it is that's ruining things. So everybody's pretty eager to please, eager to get it done. Yeah.
So today I actually watched Mountainhead. I got to
You
watch it this morning. I did. I absolutely loved it. It was and it was a dark comedy, but I loved that it felt like it was a game of wits between the four main characters. They had, like, they kept playing. They did so well. And I know that you're in the movie. So for those who have not seen Mountainhead yet, can you describe your character in this movie?
Yeah, so it's kind of fun because it really is those four guys, Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, Ramy Youseff, and Cory Michael Smith, who is the youngest one, but he's the wealthiest one. So
Yeah.
no, he's not the wealthiest one, but his app is the one causing all the commotion. So he's got a platform that, and I think this is all, I don't know, should we say spoiler alert a little bit? But the setup is he's got an app that kind of, you're assuming it's like Facebook or something, and
Yeah, or you just say it's been causing a civil war, and then you have Ramys that will distinguish whether it's a fake or not, and then that's where the whole
yeah. So the whole
mental battle.
conflict is he's made so imagine Facebook if you just said, hey, make a video of me hang gliding and and all of a sudden the video's up and you can post it, everybody think is real. Some of that actually exists, but it's his technology is supposedly so advanced that people are using it they're weaponizing it by saying, here, this country is attacking that country, people are dying, and then real attacks are happening in retaliation. So anyway, so I play the president or the chairman of his board, and the world is so out of control when they're on their little retreat that she gets out of her $600,000 Rolls Royce, comes all the way to where they are to say, dude, come on, like buy this guy's AI that will filter, that will be able to tell in moments whether something is real or not. And so she just comes she's the grown-up coming and telling the child to behave, because they're all man boys and
You're basically, you're trying to be the spark.
yeah. Yeah.
That's the spark. You're the candle. You're the wick.
Yeah,
You're the
but it's
candle
kind
wick.
of fun because once they get on their retreat, I'm really the only person that comes in from the outside to say something, so it's kind of fun. It was a fun day. It was a super fun day. And boy, those guys, man, I thought they were all so good. I thought they were so good.
They are.
It's
Oh my
really
gosh.
interesting. Have you seen I've been reading a lot about the response to it, and it's like critics are loving it, and then the audience score is lower. Like it's really polarized. And
I
think,
know that's one of those rare cases I see where it's like critics love the film, and the audience is like, yeah, this isn't good. No, I liked it. I loved it. I just felt like
yeah.
there was a whole.
But I
It's just
think
a
it's
whole.
people wanting to but would you say, let me ask you this, like a friend of mine said, but people want to know, is it good? And I said, well, I think it's brilliant. I think it's cringy and squirmy and hard to watch because it's so oh my God, this is actually happening. And people really are this distance from basic human humanistic tendencies. They really are. So it's squirmy and weird. And I wouldn't say, oh, that was fun. That was a feel good, gosh, that was good and fun. It's not that, but it's genius.
No,
It's like
they're like, how
provoking.
good is that? I'll go. The first question I have is, do you like movies about mental battles where they play they play mind games with each other? Do you like those type of movies?
Yeah.
This is one of those movies. You're definitely gonna want to see that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I love that somebody was saying, but I didn't like that it took sort of a slapstick turn. And oh my God, I love that whole, middle section where oh God, I was clapping my little hands and squealing through the whole thing. I just thought it
I
was,
was laughing when Cory was bowling with the fruit, and Jason's just nonchalant saying, "No, don't fruit. No, no,
no,
don't do
not
the fruit.
that. Yeah, no,
You're
okay.
fruit bowling. You're fruit bowling." Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the way he just says, I'm like, this is hysterical. Like they're talking
Well,
so
and
serious.
it's so dense. I mean, the writing is so dense. They're throwing quips off. I think that's one of the things that's a little bit hard to process is they're throwing quips out about, oh yeah, Argentina just went down, like they're just like, and that whole kind of language is all sort of shorthandy and tech bro talk. They're saying something like the world is falling apart and people are dying and but they're saying it in a way that's kind of clever and quippy and fun. And so it's what if you really like I had to really, really listen and be like, oh my God, and then throwing in all these facts, did you realize that 9 Latin American presidents have been murdered over there? Like just all this information that they have that's being thrown out all the time, and that's their way of like boxing is just like throwing out information and bantering facts. And oh God, I know people like that. Like I know, so it's like, oh my God, so good. I
It
thought it,
was. I really enjoyed that one, and yeah,
yeah.
it was. I loved it, and I cannot wait to see more stuff.
Oh,
And
thank you. Yeah, me
there's
too. Me too. I just got back from LA. I just shot I think I just thought shot something so fun. So there is more to come, and I've got a lot coming out this year that I shot last year. So it's really fun. It's really fun to see it kind of rolling out now.
so I got one question.
Yeah.
If you were to give someone a piece of advice, like they want to get into acting, and
Mhm.
they're up there in age, but they still want to live that dream, what advice would you give them?
I would say just keep your eyes and ears open and just look for opportunities and do it wherever you can. Like like you don't have to apply to the right program or you don't have to get the correct agent. There's no one way. So it depends on where you're starting, but if you've never been an actor before, get into a basic acting class or a basic improv class. Just go see what it's like. Try out for a community play. See what that's like. And then just keep your ears open. People are always talking about, like, I know actors who have no desire to do film and TV. They just want to stay in theater. They want to, and there's a great path you can follow that way. And then my path was, I want to get away from that. I really want to do film and TV. So just keep your eyes and ears open and look for opportunities because they're everywhere. And then take every experience as a win, So I did an audition. I didn't get cast, but boy, that was great. I got brought in. I wonder what, and then if you can find any feedback, great. If not, just move on. But every little experience will take you somewhere new. So just follow your nose.
That's awesome. Well, guys, Mountainhead is on Max right now. Definitely check that one out. And look out for Amie and all these other projects. She is an amazing supporting actress. I hope one day you get like a total lead role in a big project. That would be awesome.
And that'd be great. Yeah, it'd be fun. Although I'm loving the trajectory of still doing kind of smaller roles, but in higher and higher profile projects. So I was a lead in a short film last summer, and that was really fun. So maybe I'll do some more leads in smaller projects, small roles and bigger,
That
and
could
then
work.
where it'll meet in the middle. So we'll shoot for that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again, Amie, for taking the time
Thank
to talk
you.
about all your work and everything. And I had a great time talking with you.
It was great meeting you, and congratulations on everything you're doing too. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Well,
Yeah.
you take
All
care and you stay awesome.
right.